Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. As-salatu was-salam ala Rasulihil Kareem. So inshallah, if everyone can now try to sit in the seats and in the semicircles and enter the mode of receiving knowledge. So how do you enter a mode to receive knowledge? That's a very important question, and it's a very important skill, because there are many people in the world who attend many speeches. I've been to some of them conferences, 2 days, 3 days, people go, long speeches that people attend, and when you ask them in the middle of the day or the end of the day, what was the main things that you took away? And once one of them said, I should be more aware of my tongue, and that was the only thing that he was able to take. So you should ask yourselves this question today as well, that after the session's over, what was the main thing that I'm going to take away and implement in my life? And if there's nothing, then there's no deficiency on the speakers or the teachers, the mashayikh, but the deficiency is within us. Sometimes it's possible that the speaker is, let's say, a child. As Hazrat Sahib mentioned the other day, even if a child is speaking the truth, one should listen and take the truth. Once in a hadith it's mentioned that shaitan said something which was truth, and the Holy Prophet ﷺ said, he is a liar, but he spoke the truth on that occasion. So what am I saying? That sometimes a child could be speaking to you, and some people will benefit more from a child speaking because you had the right adab. You had the right adab with the child and you were able to benefit. And then sometimes the scholar will be speaking, or a friend of Allah will be speaking, but you won't benefit, and it's because the adab was not in you, was not present. So the most important thing is not who's speaking. It's not who's speaking. If the Holy Prophet ﷺ was speaking, but Abu Jahl was here, Abu Jahl didn't benefit, they didn't benefit. So if the Holy Prophet ﷺ was speaking to some people, there are people who didn't benefit from him. So what to say about anyone else? So the real change is not in who's speaking, the real change is in the listener. So now if you listen, that how can you change that within yourself? The first thing that a person should do is this, that mentally empty yourself and believe that I don't know anything. I don't know anything. I am an empty slate, an empty piece of paper to be written on. But when a person comes and thinks that I know enough knowledge, I know everything and so on, then they don't learn anything. The knowledge passes right through them from one ear and out the other. So one great scholar of the past throughout the whole Islamic history, Hazrat Imam Malik radiallahu anhu rahmahullah, mentioned that knowledge is not that which is learned from books. It is transferred from heart to heart. It is a light that's transferred from heart to heart. And in another hadith, the Holy Prophet also mentioned that when Allah Azza wa Jal wills to have mercy on a person, He gives them the understanding of deen. Not the knowledge of deen, the understanding of deen. So the real knowledge is understanding. Then you could read any Quranic ayat and you'll have the right understanding. But do you not see those people who read the Quran and misinterpret it? But they know Arabic, they've read commentary, but they still misinterpret and they're causing havoc on the earth. So if you want this real or true understanding, then there are different ways to attain it. One of them is by emptying your inner self, that I now know nothing. And let me tell you one of the signs of a person who is learning more. The sign of a person who learns more is that the more he knows, the more he realizes how much he doesn't know. The more he knows, the more he realizes how much he doesn't know. So what does that mean for me and you here today? That means that when you're listening, even the people who've been here 10 years, 20 years, doesn't matter who it is, they're more important for the people who've been here for longer. If this isn't present in you and me, then we don't have this. What is it? that when you're listening to this knowledge, it should be a surprise. It should be a surprise for you that, wow, I never knew this. But if you're listening and you think, yeah, I've heard this before, then I can tell you now that that speech has not benefited you. If you hear the journey of man 100 times, every time it should benefit you in a different way than before. So this adab is so important. Empty yourself, and that I don't know anything, my heart is empty, my knowledge is empty, my mind is empty. And then you begin to receive. And then at the end, think to yourself, ponder upon the knowledge. So do this today after the speakers all finish. Spend 3 minutes just thinking to yourself and write them down if you want. What am I going to take away from that speech, this discourse? What am I going to take for my life when I go back, or even in this itekaf? Inshallah, during this itekaf, you're going to be given a very special gift of the spiritual levels of wudu. That is something to practice in this itekaf, in this 10 days. But much of this knowledge is going to be things that you can take away for your life after itikaf as well. So inshallah, remember to do this. Think about just 3 practical tips that you will take away, implement them, and then inshallah you will benefit. Because a person only benefits based on the intention that which they listen. If you listen for entertainment, you'll become entertained. If you listen for knowledge, you'll gain knowledge. But if you listen to practice and please Allah, then inshallah, with that intention, you will attain that. And knowledge will be beneficial knowledge. Otherwise, even this knowledge, it will be unbeneficial knowledge for you, because it will not benefit you. You will not do anything from it, so it won't benefit you. And not if you have knowledge and you don't use it, that can harm you. That can really harm you. So inshallah, with this note, we inshallah hand it over to our respected teacher and guide to enlighten us. Jazakallah. Subhanakallah wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ومن يعمل من الصالحات من ذكر أو أنثى وهو مؤمن فلنحيينه حياة طيبة صدق الله العظيم اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا ونبينا وشفيعنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه السلام علينا وعلى عباد الله الصالحين. Most of the human beings, they do not like to be under someone. They want to become self-sufficient, self-reliant, financially and spiritually as well. Who wants to work as a cleaning plates in the hotel? Other people are eating and he's cleaning plates. Who wants to drive people here and there like a chauffeur? But why are they doing it? Who wants to be under someone, a wife who have to be under the instructions, having some restriction from husband? And there's so many who wants to just work in office, inputting data for someone, writing receipts. They also want to be independent. But because of certain need, they have to be under. They are finding, when the people say, we are finding jobs, it's as though they're saying we want to work under someone, whatever reasonably we can do. No matter it is packing tomatoes and cucumbers, or packing cakes and biscuits, or putting cherries on them. They are finding, because they feel the need. Otherwise, if the need was not there, they don't like to work. Similarly, spiritually, who wants to be a murid? Everyone wants to be just actually a friend and a wali of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then normally they don't want to be under someone. Like financially they don't want. Spiritually they don't want. For example, a person sitting next to you is a wali of Allah. The other person sees, I also have two hands. I also have two eyes. I also have same physical body. Or if not physical body, the spirit, the ruh exists in me. And it is same, the ruh of everyone was created from the same thing. Why? They don't want to be under someone. Financially or spiritually. देखिए इंसान की अक्सरियत या इंसान की जो तबीयत होती है आम तौर पर तज़किया के बगैर, वो किसी के नीचे लग के काम नहीं करना चाहता, वो किसी के सेक्रेटरी नहीं बनना चाहता. But sometimes they are proud, I am secretary of this person, I am secretary of this minister, I am secretary of this president, I am secretary of they are proud sometimes. They say, I am chauffeur of such and such person. वो नहीं किसी के नीचे काम करते, सारा दिन प्लास्टिक को पैक करना, टमाटर पैक करना, तरें पैक करना, सब्जियों को देना, लोगों के सामने रखना खाना, लोगों की प्लेटें उठाना, लोगों को एक जगह से दूसरी जगह लेके जाना. मैं खुद कितना अरसा अभी भी ये जो टैक्सी का काम होता है करता हूँ, तो कौन करे जो अगर उसको वैसे तो दिल नहीं होता, तो जितने भी का हर बंदा चाहता है मैं अपने बादशाहत में, अपने महल में, अपने एक किंगडम में रहूं. इसी तरह रूहानी तौर पर भी कौन है जो चाहे मैं शागिर्द बनूं. हर एक का दिल होता है डायरेक्टली ही उस्ताद बन जाए. तो एक शेख ने कहा उस्ताद ने के शागिर्दों कि मेरी शागिर्दी जो है बहुत मुश्किल है, तुम नहीं बन सकते मेरे. तो उसने कहा अच्छा मुझे उस्ताद ही बना दें. So who wants to be a student? Everyone wants to be a teacher. But that's not how it is. Yes, that desire of human being, ये जो ख्वाहिश है, is not wrong. Allah Jalla Majduhu is Razzaq. So He is feeding you, He is actually giving you. And Allah Jalla Majduhu is the one who we should worship, not awliya and the prophets, or statues or dunya. We're not created for that. But these inner desires of human being, they can be attained. But normally in the real life, not in the testing phase. In the testing phase, even sometimes the prince, if he goes for a test, he will be tested as well. If he wants to go in army, he will be put through the same thing. Even if he's the prince of the country, king of the country. If he wants to go for training, he will be put through. ये जो दो चीज़ें हैं कि you want to be independent financially, you don't want to rely regarding your house, your anything, you want to be king. And similarly, you want to be a wali, a friend of Allah, you don't want to lie, you want to directly worship Allah Jalla Majduhu, and that's it. Yes, these are correct. ये ख्वाहिशें हैं, पूरी भी होंगी. But in the real life, you can fulfill, you can be those people. Person in Jannah will be independent financially. He will have his own kingdom, more hundreds times bigger than any city, even this dunya, 10 times bigger than the dunya. He will have his wives, he will have his servants, he will need nothing except Allah Jalla Majduhu. Because everything, whatever he wants, he will just say and it will come. So he will be really independent, except Allah Jalla Majduhu. Similarly, spiritually, he will be independent. He now don't need to visit the awliya because he himself has become pious when he enters Jannah and awliya. So he will be closer to Allah Jalla Majduhu. He will be physically independent, not dependent upon someone. So that is attainable, that could be attained. But here, whilst we are here now, we are in testing phase. And there is a reason and many hikmahs and wisdoms why Allah Azza wa Jal connected us to be in need of other human beings. For example, if a person doesn't need, if there were no Anbiya and Awliya taking him, normally arrogance and self-likeness automatically will come in you. अगर नबियों का सिलसिला, वलियों का सिलसिला, उस्ताद ना हो, तो वो बंदा अल्लाह तक नहीं वो बराह राह पहुँचने को वो उसमें तकब्बर और बहुत सारी दूसरी बुराइयां आ जाएंगी, वो कभी ख़त्म नहीं होंगी. Because the more near the king you are, the more bigger you feel. You know, यहाँ जो कहते I am the servant of the king, I serve in his palace, I am his secretary, I am minister secretary, that inflates the ego. So someone saying directly I am closer to Allah can inflate the ego rather than deflate it, because he is associating with the highest being. So as a mercy, Allah Jalla Majduhu has connected our rizq and our spiritual rizq with other people, so that this arrogance, this stubbornness, and this pride and this ego is tamed and kept in its place. Let me give you an example. For example, Shaitan, as one is known, was Azazil. He had both of these things. Just think about his story. He had both. Financially, from rizq point of view, he was independent because he was living in Jannah, in paradise. He doesn't need to work. He doesn't need to earn. He doesn't need to manage a business or anything. Spiritually, he was independent because there was no other prophet, nothing. He was the person only, the only jinn living in paradise, in heaven, in Jannah. तो दोनों चीज़ों से शैतान की ज़िंदगी में बहुत बड़ी मिसाल है. इसीलिए अल्लाह पाक ने बार बार कुरान मजीद में तो ना उसको वहाँ काम करने की, खाने पीने की, किसी फैक्ट्री लगाने की, बिजनेस करने की ज़रूरत थी जन्नत में, और ना ही उसको रूहानी तौर पर किसी से रहनुमाई लेने की ज़रूरत थी कि वो अल्लाह से बराह रास्त हम कलाम हो रहा था। वो तो अल्लाह पाक से डील कर रहा था डायरेक्टली। So he was dealing with Allah Jalla Majdu. Allah Azza wa Jal was speaking to him through ilham or whatever. He was financially, physically independent. What happened? तो क्या हुआ? This concept of being big and the ego, it became the super ego, that I am the one, special one. So Allah Jalla Majduhu had mercy on him by creating Adam alayhi salam as a teacher for him. अल्लाह पाक ने तो उस पर रहम किया कि एक हस्ती पैदा कर दी जिनको हमारे जो दादा जान सैयदना आदम अलैहिस्सलाम कि उसको वो एक उस्ताद और मुर्शिद दे दें ताकि इसका ये तकब्बर ख़त्म हो जाए। जब ये झुकेगा एक मखलूक के सामने तो इसका ये ख़त्म हो जाएगा। So in actual fact, Allah Azza wa Jal was doing favor to him. Allah Azza wa Jal was dealing mercifully with him by creating Sayyidina Adam alayhi salam, so that in the form of Adam alayhi salam, he has a teacher. He has another creation, and he will bow down, and his arrogance and his takabbur and his stubbornness and his pride and self-likeness which is developing will go away. But unfortunately, that has gone to that level that he found it hard to even bow down to Adam alayhi salam. And the reason was that actually he didn't get this opportunity to be worldly way. If you submit to someone, there is kind of arrogance goes away. For example, a person who drives taxi, he had to give some kind of self-respect or ego away. A person who is a secretary of someone, who is assistant of a director, no matter he is someone, he has to give a part of his ego away. A person who works for someone, a person who says, I want British nationality, he has to give a part away. I want this, he has to accept certain things. So the work, the rizq halal also is so beneficial that it also helps you spiritually as well when you earn, when you are serving people. You see, in the customer care, and the receptionist is very nice to everyone. Why? Because they have good akhlaq? No, just for money. That's not called good character. So in customer service, the receptionist or the customer department, they are trained to be smiling and to not to respond even if someone swears, but that's just actually artificial character, conduct. Whilst the same person can be the nastiest person at home or when they are not on their job. Because that time for money, for job, they are. So that's why in Islam we are encouraged to earn rizq halal for that reason. One is this reason, that your ego also gets settled. So I was talking to you about Shaitan. He was created as an innocent person. Like some people, because they are not thinking deeply, they sometimes think, oh, why did Allah create Shaitan? Allah did not create Shaitan as he is. Allah created Now who is shaitan? As a very pious, innocent, a person who has such potential, who can reach the highest of high heavens. Allah created him actually perfectly in that sense. He then actually corrupted himself and did whatever he wanted. Allah Jalla Majduhu never did any wrong, or other than just Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Inna Allah la yazlimu mithqala dharra. None an atom's weight Allah is unjust with someone. Brother, he said he is not unjust, but on the other hand, he said he loves more than 70 times more than a mother. On the other hand, it is actually going through the very, very, very extreme. That we cannot imagine the love of Allah Jalla Majduhu. So, you want to be independent. Who wants to be a murid? Everyone wants to be independent. Who wants to be a student? Everyone wants to be a teacher. But now they have to. And as I said, there is very good reasons for that. One of the reasons is that that's how humbleness and tawadu and the ego is kept in control. तो उसकी एक वजह ये है कि अल्लाह पाक ने आज़ाद नहीं बनाया सबको, रूहानी भी और जिस्मानी भी, ताकि इनमें तकब्बर पैदा ना हो, इनमें उजब पैदा ना हो, इनका नफ्स आगे ना बढ़े, ताकि ये अपने जैसे और मखलूक इलाही के सामने जब काम आएंगे, झुकेंगे, सीखेंगे, तो इनमें आजिज़ी आ जाएगी. And once they have this humbleness, then they will get closer to Allah Jalla Majduhu. Because if they don't have that, then they will not come closer to Allah but further away, because Allah doesn't like arrogant people. And one of the way is to submit to actually other people, in the sense to tame the ego. तो इस तरह आप लोग हैं, now you are, there's no one here who has any passion to be any high as such actually than others. So why we are here? We are trying to, for each other, facilitate that journey to Allah Jalla Majduhu. Facilitate that journey. And in that, when you have to submit, you've not submitted for your sake or anyone else's sake, but for Allah Jalla Majduhu's sake. तो नबी से जो ताल्लुक़ होता है, नबी से जो बंदा मोहब्बत करता है, वो अदब करता है, वो असल में अल्लाह जल्ल मजदूहू के लिए कर रहा है. वली से जो मोहब्बत करता है, वो भी अल्लाह पाक के लिए कर रहा है. इसी तरह हर चीज़ से मोहब्बत जो है वो अल्लाह के लिए करनी चाहिए. वही मोहब्बत पाक होती है जो अल्लाह जल्ल मजदूहू के लिए हो. So this is, so I'm saying this so that you feel that no, you also can be. Everyone has an element of friendship of Allah. A person who is believer, हर ईमान वाला एक दर्जे में वो अल्लाह का वली है. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, Allahu waliyul lazina amanu. Allah is the helper and the friend of people who believe. So everyone has an element of friendship, but that's the lower level of friendship. Then the higher level of friendship, the walayat khasusiya, the higher level walaya, that actually we can attain. So alhamdulillah, this is one of the wisdom behind that Allah has connected us with each other. Otherwise, He could have created us in different planets. And it is good, it is great wisdom, and it is a blessing of Allah that Allah did not create us in Jannah. That He created here on the face of the earth. Because if we had been created in Jannah, paradise, we would have made hell out of it. And also be cursed like shaitan and thrown back here. And then we don't have opportunity. At least now we are born here, we have opportunity to go back there. then in that scenario we wouldn't have this. So Allah Azza wa Jalla has a mercy. Allah पाक ने रहमत के तौर पर, फजल के तौर पर हमें इस दुनिया में आजमाइश के लिए भेजा, जन्नत में नहीं रखा। क्योंकि जन्नत में अगर हम रहते, हम तो दुनिया की गाड़ियों और दुनिया के महल्लात और दुनिया की औरतों से जायज़ तल्लक नहीं रखते, नाजायज़ तल्लक बादा, तो कहाँ हूरें और कहाँ जन्नत के महल, वहाँ क्या होता? वहाँ तो और जो है शैतान जिस तरह किया। And Allah Azza wa Jal showed us through our father Sayyidina Adam alayhi salam. Look, he was instructed not to go near one tree. One tree. That tree became a test. The paradise didn't become a test for him. जन्नत उनके लिए इम्तिहान नहीं थी, एक दरख्त, तो उसके भी शैतान ने वरगला दिया। तो अगर सारी जन्नत ही आजमाइश हो तो फिर क्या होगा? For us, especially for us. He was a prophet and he didn't disobey Allah. He still actually did what he ate, the forbidden fruit, because of forgetfulness, like we eat sometime in fasting. Easy way I can explain to you. If you eat something during the day out of forgetfulness and you're fasting, are you sinful? Have you done disobedience? No, this is not disobedience. He said, Allah has fed me. The hadith says that Allah has fed the person who ate out of forgetfulness. So similarly, Allah Jalla Mahidu says regarding Sayyidina Adam alayhi salam, فَنَسِيَ Adam, Adam alayhi salam forgot. وَلَمْ نَجِدْ لَهُ azma. There was not even intention of disobedience in Adam. Let aside doing disobedience, he never in his lifetime had one thought of disobedience. Allah is saying that azm was not there. He was so pure, and that's how every prophet is so pure, because Allah Jalla Mahidu has created them with such anwar. So it is a blessing that Allah Jalla Mahidu who have created us on the face of the earth. It is a blessing that we have to work under other people. That's a blessing as well. It is a blessing that we have to learn from teachers. And firstly, the prophets were teachers, because by submitting to them, a portion of our ego, the unnecessary part, the harmful part of the ego goes away, and humbleness comes. So that is why we are learning from each other. Otherwise, you could be guided by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala directly. But Allah Azza wa Jal adopted the means of Anbiya and the books, and then now the awliya Allah, teacher, ustaz, and all these actually. Otherwise, like you put a chip in your phone or computer, the angel could just insert a chip and you will be doing whatever you programmed to do. But then you have no freedom as such. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants us to be financially, physically independent and spiritually independent, but that will happen in the akhirah forever and ever. Here, there is benefit in submitting, respecting elders, respecting teachers, honoring Anbiya Ikram, actually observing the protocols with the creation of Allah, the khalq of Allah, the makhluk of Allah. This keeps us in balance. This keeps us in balance. Anyway, yesterday I mentioned to you, just to summarize what I said firstly, that the human being has 3 births. इंसान की जो है वो 3 पैदाइशें आपको याद होगा. Anyone can mention which are they? Okay. Yes, mashallah, brother mentioned correctly. Physical, intellectual and spiritual. तो इंसान की ज़्यादा है, लेकिन हम चलो इसी में बात करेंगे कि 3 पैदाइशें. वैसे तो ये 15 हैं. In actual fact, there are 15 births. But we are talking about the 3 only. So first one we did that we share with other creation, the animal as you see there. As you can see, the baby in the womb of the mother. You see, Allah Jalla Majdu created this mean as well. If He wanted, you could have come out of an egg or from ground, like actually the plants grow on trees. It's not actually impossible or anything like this. Allah, who can create you in the mother, He could create you without that as well. But He created so that even though the mother, father are sinful or kafir, you have to submit and respect them in a way, and that's how you get pleasure of Allah. You have to submit in obedience to them. There's an element of that as well in there. So this is a means. So whoever become a means for you come in the face of the earth, you honor them. And whoever become a mean for you to be born in the spiritual world, like the awliya and anbiya, you honor them as well because you have come. Rather, the parents we should respect, but they brought it from the world of spirit to this dunya. And anbiya and awliya, Allah, they take you from this dunya back to the spiritual world. So they have an element of honor. Even the physical, that's another element of honor. Anyway, we covered that, as you watch the screen. The animal, they eat. We eat as well. The animal drink. We drink as well. So there are 12 things I mentioned. Third thing, animals sleep. We sleep as well. Other creation work. Look how they are working, they are taking their food, whatever. No, Allah has planned, Allah has programmed them. They are working. I think if they were human beings, they wouldn't be in line anyway. They are, because human being has certain freedom. You see, the ants, if you see them, they go actually in line. And Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala mentioned this creation in Quran. Allah being high and creator and such, well, one cannot imagine, mind will explode if it has the greatness of Allah Jalla Majduhu in it. But in spite of being so high, He mentioned one of His creation, He named a surah after an ant. तो ये हमारे लिए सबक है, हम जितने बड़े मर्जी अमीर हो जाएं, जितने मर्जी बड़े बन जाएं, we become so big, so knowledgeable, so high, we still should care for people who have nots, or people who have less knowledge or less money, they are poor. We shouldn't forget them. Think about them, the insignificant. Allah being Allah is mentioning an ant and naming His surah. Will you ever write a book and actually name it, for example, after an ant? आम बंदा किताब लिख के वो ant, he named it that this is, no. And the book is of guidance. People will say, oh, no, I don't want to write this. No one is going to read this. But Allah Jalla Majduhu gives us a lesson that no matter how high you go, but actually you should consider what is low as well. So anyway, they work, we work as well. Okay. They do business, we do business. I'm going quickly because I have already gone through it yesterday. They also have couples, partners. We also have partners. They have children. We have children. They bring up children, feed the children. We also do. They train the children, their own babies, offspring. They train and raise the children. We also train and raise them. They build houses for them. We also build houses. They actually go on holiday and sightseeing, they're walking about, looking at sunrise. Many people, they also like sunrise. So there's nothing special about that. Animals also are enjoying sunrise or sunset. You also, but they look mostly at nature. Human beings have other things as well. Animals fight, compete. Human beings also do sometimes. So all these 12 things I mentioned to you yesterday is to do with the physical birth. And if human being in his lifetime also have done these 12 and he thinks he has achieved something really by just doing them, or by just having a job, by just having children, really he will die as an animal. He will die as an animal, but he will be treated in the end, akhirah, not as an animal, because the animals will go to dust, animals will disappear. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will just actually make them non-existent. But human being who wasted his time, not believed, not done good deeds, he can't disappear. Death will not come to him in the akhirah. So we can't, yes, someone could say, okay, I don't mind living like animals. Yeah, you can live and die, but at the end then you will be treated differently. Because you were given some extra thing and you were given some extra power. So all these 12 things, eating, drinking, sleeping, work, business, marry, having children, bringing up children, training, building houses, walk about, sightseeing, fight. Do you know there is one formula that can turn all of these things into worship, into reward? There is one formula that all of these things can be turned into worship. यानी एक फार्मूला ये है कि ये सारी की सारी चीज़ें इबादत बन सकती हैं, नहीं तो जो है ये बस वक्त ज़ाया करने वाली बात है. वो फार्मूला क्या है? That if a person acts upon those things according to the command of Allah and the way shown by the Prophet ﷺ, and with sincerity, with ikhlas, they become worship. If you have these three elements in anything, that will become worship. That come in line with commands of. So let's take, for example, eating, meaning eating halal. By Prophet ﷺ, we mean eating in the way of the sunnah. And ikhlas, meaning that you should have this thought in your mind that I am having this energy from this food which I will utilize in the obedience of Allah Jalla Majduhu, in the worship of Allah Jalla Majduhu. You have ikhlas, purity of motive. Then eating is a worship. Similarly, drink. Similarly, sleep, as I was saying to you after Fajr. You do it in the command of Allah, don't sleep at prayer time. No, that's not worship. You are sleeping as a command of Allah, meaning to fulfill the need of a body. You sleep in the way shown by the Prophet ﷺ. It's meant for our benefit, not for the benefit of Rasulullah ﷺ, how he has said do wudu before and actually sleep like this, clean your bedding, etc. Sleep on the right side, recite Surah Ikhlas, Falak, Nas, blow onto your hands and onto your body for protection. This is for our benefit. You do dhikr of Allah before you sleep. Allahumma bismika mutu ahya. And thirdly, ikhlas. You sleep so that you can be refreshed, so that you can be more obedient to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and fulfill your purpose of life. then it will become worship. But sleeping, just actually going sleeping like animal, waking up like animal, that doesn't become worship as such. Similarly, work. If you do its command of Allah that halal way, not missing the prayer, not violating the right of anyone, doing the sunnah according to the sunnah of the Prophet al-Islam, being good to people. Like he sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, any shopkeeper, any business owner who returns a product, may Allah have mercy on him. He gave a dua to that person who has a shop or business, and a customer comes and says, I want to return. Prophet al-Islam did dua for him. In this world now, in Western world, in business studies, now it's being discovered that you should have good customer care, you should return things. Otherwise, before that, if you came to return a thing, the shopkeeper looks like you have done a murder or something. And if he sees you have something in the bag, his mood goes off. But now they have different departments, they are happy that, okay. And because of that, what's happening? More and more customers coming, more and more people buy because they know they can return. So after all, there's benefit in there. But before that, there was disaster. But so 1400 years before, 1500 years before, imagine the Prophet ﷺ saying this, encouraging the business ethics. And he sallallahu alaihi wasallam did business himself. So work or business according to the norms, the sunnah, being good to the employees, giving them right, etc., etc. And then thirdly, ikhlas, meaning doing work to earn halal and to fulfill the command of Allah, so that then it becomes worship. It doesn't just become worship that you are gone to work and say, I am doing ibadah. Ibadah need intention. So you have to intend. If you are just actually working and doing business just to increase money and to show off to others, then this is not a worship. This is actually something else now. Anyway, you can think about the example yourself. I do not need to go through everything, but same formula applies to marrying the three things. You marry because of the command of Allah in a halal way, who you are allowed to marry. You fulfill the rights of the wife according to the way shown by the Prophet al-Islam, how he fulfilled the rights of wives. For example, he even remembered Sayyidah Khadijatul Kubra 10 years after, 15 years after her death. So loyal. And we are sometimes so disloyal that we have, and someone is not in our nikah, and we are becoming disloyal actually. And if it was not for people, it was not for children, it was not for money, people, then you will know how many women people change. Now, the pressure of society and so many other things is keeping them in line. And as soon as a person have little bit more money and things, and you see what they do. So, one of the Salihin, on Eid day, he wore certain clothes. Every Eid, same clothes, not new one. Others ask that you don't wear new clothes, you only wear this one. Last Eid we saw this Eid. He said, my wife who's passed away maybe 2 decades ago, she made this for me with her hand, and now this is a happy occasion, Eid, so I am just actually fulfilling her right to remember her. She'll be happy. So imagine the loyalty, a person who is loyal to Allah and His Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he is the real one who is loyal to the creation as well. Others are just for benefit, just for their greed, until their need is served, they serve, otherwise they will just throw you away. They don't want to know you. So And the Prophet ﷺ also used to, our mother al-Mu'mineen Sayyida Aisha Siddiqa radiallahu anha says that he used to send gifts, he used to send food to the friends of Sayyida Khadijat al-Kubra. So he taught us how to keep ties, how to actually be good. So, and the thirdly, ikhlas, to marrying so that you can fulfill your needs, the right needs of actually the others, and our children for the sake of Allah Jalla Majduhu, and that becomes actually a worship as well, half deen. Similarly, having children, you apply to those three things, they become worship. Bringing up children, it's become worship. Training and educating, building houses, if you apply that 3-point formula, that become worship. Even if you go sightseeing, walk about, the Prophet ﷺ used to go for sightseeing and walk about. He liked to see natural scenery, he liked to see rivers, he liked to see gardens. And he would go quite distant away for relieving himself, although he didn't need as such, but to see and actually to walk near rivers and other things he liked. He used to go and rest in gardens of many Sahabis many times. And he would actually, so that can become worship. You are pondering over the creation of Allah Jalla Majduhu. So holiday is very good if you keep to the word holiday, if you keep them holy, actually it's good. And also lastly, if the fighting, that can become worship as well. If it is for nafs and shaitan and for dunya, for the world, it is sin, it is wrong. But if you have that, the human being has that element to fight for the right of others, to fight with shaitan, to fight with nafs, to fight to protect your family, to self-defense, to protect your country, protect the deen, all that, then it become a positive force, this one actually. So even that can become worship. But not in a way like nowadays is happening. Many people are fighting between husband and wives are fighting, brothers are fighting, others people are fighting, business people are actually competing and fighting in negative, drug dealers are fighting. And then all the many people who say we are fighting for Islam, they're not fighting for Islam, even though whatever intention they have, like these people who explode bombs, and imagine these rampant killing recently happened in London. This is purely shaitanic act, purely shaitanic. Why I say purely shaitanic? Because this is not even allowed to do when you are in real war and real jihad with someone. You are not allowed to do that even. The Prophet ﷺ said, Sayyidina Bilal announced, when there is an army who want to kill you, when people of Makkah came to annihilate Madinatul Munawwara fully, they came from Makkah to annihilate in Khandaq, in Uhud. But the Prophet ﷺ said, you are not allowed to harm a woman, a person who is just going about his own affairs, who is not in fighting, a child, a religious person of other, many other meaning. No matter what, even people, Prophet ﷺ said, anyone worshipping in monastery, you don't actually, even if you enter another country, there's war with you, don't actually engage in a negative way with people worshipping in monasteries. Monasteries, who do they worship in monasteries? Someone is worshipping an idol, someone is worshipping whatever. So imagine how a great sin, they're doing kufr, but he ﷺ prohibited. So these people really, shaitan overtook them, and they destroyed themselves as well as actually other, or sometimes people have different agenda, they do things actually. So one should always think 100 times, no matter you're reading on the internet, wherever. Prophet Islam never instigated or harm to someone. And even if you say he fought wars, yes, he did. Even in those wars, he disallowed any person to be harmed innocently. Any person, women, men who are not fighting, who are going about their daily business, who are on holiday and enjoying all these things. So all this actually a person should know. This is purely shaitanic, and especially those people who actually do come to different countries. There are different rules that when you get a visa of a country, you sign a contract, you have an ahad, you have a promise, you have a covenant with them. Even though that country was in war with Islam, still you are not allowed to do that because you have entered a covenant. Now then they make many excuses, like for example, oh look what what some countries are doing in Iraq, what countries are doing in Syria, what countries. Well, if someone else is doing wrong, it doesn't mean that you can do wrong as well. It doesn't mean wrong. If someone's killing innocent people in Syria, it doesn't mean you kill innocent people. So what different you are in from them? Anyway, but the element of fighting is good in human being, the resistance, but the resistance should be towards evil, towards harm, towards shaitan, towards bad habit, and towards eating, not actually in the way. So there are strict rules for that. Okay. Now the second birth, the real birth, that was the animalistic birth we talked about. That other animals, other things are shared, but we can turn that into worship somehow, like I mentioned with the 3-point formula. Second birth, when really you are born, when does that happen? Second birth happens the day when you realize why you were born. So look here, the day when a person realizes why they were born. कि यानी जब भी बंदे को पता चल जाए कि मैं जिस दिन पता चल गया कि मैं क्यों पैदा हुआ था, मेरा मकसद क्या है, that's a real birth actually of human being. Because if you think a little bit deeply, the human being differentiates from animal because it has more intellect, more knowledge, intellect. कि इंसान में अकल ज़्यादा होती है जानवरों से, यही एक चीज़ ये मुमय्यज़ करती है, it differentiates from other. So in actual fact, the actual thing which to do with human being is this birth. The other animals share as well, who are mindless, who don't have so much intellect. तो दूसरी पैदाइश किस दिन? जिस दिन पता चल गया मैं क्यों पैदा हुआ था, मैं क्यों दुनिया में आया, मेरा ज़िंदगी का मकसद क्या है, ये a new life, a new dawn, a new awakening comes in the person. A new life, एक नई ज़िंदगी, नई आँख खुलती है. So this is an element of intellectual. So intellectual पर दूसरी पैदाइश तब होती जब बंदा ये जान ले कि मैं क्यों इस दुनिया में आया. Number 2, how to achieve that purpose of existence. वो मैंने मकसद हासिल कैसे करना है. This is intellectual birth. Firstly, you are eating, drinking. But now, if you think how to achieve the purpose of existence, you can turn that all animalistic, all those 12 things into worship as well. But that's actually how to achieve the purpose of existence. This is intellectual birth. Third element of They are all elements of intellectual birth. Third element of intellectual birth is you have a holistic vision of life, a very wide view of life. ये intellect can know this, not just actually the animalistic birth. Holistic means whole, full. People don't understand what it means. Holistic means whole, full, all overview, all encompassing, not a narrow. Look at this diagram, especially for the new people. That this is a holistic view. This is the intellectual birth. Intellectual birth takes place. Okay, firstly, there was nothing. Then Allah created as world of spirit. So this intellect understands that I was there in the world of spirits. Then this dunya, this life of this world. Then the life of qabr and life of barzakh. Then there'll be life of day of judgment, 50,000 years. Then forever life. So this is called holistic vision. This is that you have a bigger view of life, not only you're focusing like a frog actually here. There's a story of frog. Normally frog actually stayed in a well, and there was little water in the well. The other frog somehow got out of the well from somewhere, and there was flood, and there was actually, and it was just swimming and actually coming, and he saw vast oceans, and somehow he ended up in that well as well. And he said to the other frog, oh, there are vast oceans outside, and one can be drowned and things. He said, what is the ocean? Water. This is the only thing. Look, I'll jump from this side, from the well to the other side. That's why I cover. What is the vast ocean? Now, because that frog has all his life seen that, so for him, that is the ocean, that is everything. So he isn't, what is this? Nothing. But if he gets out, he sees the rivers and things at least. That is our example. When we only think about this dunya here, we are like that frog. We are living in the well of dunya and thinking this is the player. Someone has a good car, he says, oh yeah, this is the actual thing. Someone sees a woman, he says, this is the actual most beautiful woman. This is what it is in the whole of the world. He sees a house, this is the house. But there is in Akhirah, there are vast oceans of treasures, of beauty and kingdoms and things. So that's like a frog, we die just thinking about that well of dunya. And then the vast ocean. Anbiya alayhim salam, they've seen other realms. So they come and tell us, oh, there are more beautiful women in Jannah, they're called who, you can live forever. We say, oh, everything is here, now we enjoy. Let's enjoy what's ever here. We have not seen anything there. So because we are blind, we never came out of this. So either we believe on them or otherwise we'll die as this in this world. इसी दुनिया की के कुएं में ही मर जाएंगे सारी जिंदगी और आखिरत से भान. So coming back again, so holistic vision. The third one is having a holistic, this is intellectual birth. Then a person is born, he has a new life. Oh, there is life in Akhirah. Oh, there is a world of spirits, etc., etc. So this is like awakening call for the person. Fourth, intellectual birth happens when there is balance in life. That's what intellect does, balance. Some people are so indulged in working that they made money their God. And ultimate aim, working, money, counting. There's no balance. Their family is suffering. Their akhirah is suffering. And some people are inclined towards worship so much that they're sitting in the mosque, going in dawah, neglecting family, neglecting business, neglecting house, and they're out of balance as well. So there is no goodness in that as well. They are doing harmful thing in a way, being out of balance because they are violating rights of others. Let's say Prophet ﷺ said to one of the Sahabi, your guest has a right upon you. because it was told he was worshipping all the time. So this means that if you're reading Quran, if you're reading some ibadah, if you're doing wazifa, a guest comes, now the greatest closeness to Allah you will get by just sitting with him and asking how he is, where does he come from, does he need anything. This is the worship of the time now. If you engage in nafal, if you engage in, for example, offering nawafil, reciting Quran, and all these things, you can become sinful because you are leaving a wajib and going towards nawafil. You can become sinful now. You are getting away from Allah. You are thinking, I am doing my tasbih, I am in zikr, I am in muraqabah or whatever. But the Prophet ﷺ said, your guest has a right, he has a right, meaning that Allah's closeness now lies just sitting with him, even talking about worldly matters. That is your worship for you. So, intellectual birth indicates when a person is born, there is balance in life. Fifthly, also, it is the intellect which prioritizes the options, that what do I want first? Do I want to put Allah first, the Prophet ﷺ, then myself, family, dunya, my desires, my needs, or how do I actually do things? Who do I give priority? That cannot happen in the animalistic life. Whatever animalistic life is, they find grass is good here, eat here all day. So like some people open a book, no matter what is a story, they will stay there mostly. They open a Facebook page, and then they might stay there actually for a long time. Wherever they get. They like food, they've gone on outside, they're just roaming around actually there. No priority actually. So this means intellectually they are not born. It's like just grazing sheep and grazing cows. Wherever they find something, good food, they just are there for a long time. So the intellectually you are born when you prioritize your options. You say this is, then you can make good decisions. You see these people who said we can't decide. We can't decide. हमारे में फैसला करने की कुव्वत नहीं है. That we can't decide. If they want to make decision, they want to be a good decision maker, तो उनको क्या करना? First thing is to do, if they prioritize their thing in seconds and minutes, they can decide. If they have not got prioritized their things, then they will have be confusion. ये जो लोग कहते हैं ना कोई फैसला नहीं हम कर सकते, वो वजह यह है कि उन्होंने तरजीहात को मुतय्यन नहीं किया था कि सबसे पहले तो हमने अल्लाह को राज़ी करना है, फिर नबी अलैहिस्सलाम को, फिर जो है वालिदैन है, फिर जो है मलोग हैं, फिर बीवी है, फिर काम है, फिर दुनिया है, फिर दोस्त हैं. आपने उनको दर्जा दिया हुआ है. अब कोई भी काम आ जाए, कोई भी ऑप्शन आ जाए, क्योंकि आपने तरजीहात मुतय्यन की हुई हैं, आपके लिए फ़ैसला करना बड़ा आसान है. फौरन बंदा फ़ैसला कर सकता है. ही कैन ईज़िली मेक अ डिसीजन. Number 6, because of this intellectual birth, he honestly and sincerely pursues the ultimate goal, because the intellect knows now, oh yes, this is my end. This will become my end. I can attain this. I can lose this. So a person becomes more serious. He becomes more serious. He said there is light end of the tunnel, or there is hell out end of the tunnel. He becomes serious. Number 7 element of intellectual birth is that this person will be able to sacrifice temporal for the permanent, because he will decide with his mind. He will decide with his intellect. Okay, I'm getting pleasure in drugs, but for my long life they are harmful. It's easy for him to leave drugs. I'm doing this sin, I'm enjoying now, but it's harmful in relation to akhirah. He can then actually sacrifice. Otherwise he cannot. In Arabic, the word aql and qalb, they have a meaning which is common. It means literally, qalb also means changing, examining. Aql also means stopping and examining. So aql means aql that like it examines things. It examines things. That's why aql is called aql. It stops and examines, is it beneficial, and then it lets others go, and what's not beneficial. So that's why it's called aql. It stops you from harmful and takes you to the benefit. Let's say I have a glass of, I'm very, very thirsty. I'm very thirsty. I have a glass of juice here, which is very good juice, fruit juice. But someone tells me that there is poison in there. So now the nafs, the animalistic tendency is saying, drink it, I am very thirsty. But now the aql is examining, is rolling. The qalb also examines. Qalb is called changing, meaning changing it's left. One is that there are different thoughts coming. The other meaning of qalb is that it examines, actually. It has this criteria to examine things, that are they good or bad. That's why in the hadith is mentioned that even the muftis give fatwa, still take fatwa from your heart. Also ask your heart, that has an element of that consciousness. So the aql will say, no, if you drink, you will get pleasure, your thirst will be quenched, but your life will end, so the aql will stop. So meaning aql means something which stops because of harm or because of benefit, attaining benefit. So number 7, sacrifices temporal for the intellect, actually, that's a blessing. Number 8, eighth element of intellectual birth is that it is the intellectual birth which makes a plan and aligns every day's activity in align with the end goal. The animal can't do that. Person who is not intellectually, well, he can't do that. He doesn't plan. He says, enjoy. Money comes every week. He goes in the weekend outside and eats and having good time, eating food and spends away. No savings. Some people are there, they make no saving, no plan for holiday or for other things, for anything. Whatever wage comes, they just spend and finish. Next week, they again actually out of pocket. That is animalistic tendency. Because animals don't carry food with them for next week or anything. But some do, as I say, plan. The ants, and they are programmed to do like that. So what does this 8th mean? It means, for example, let's say today you meet Allah Jalla Majduhu. Today we die. Our spirits leave our body and we meet Allah Jalla Majduhu. The angel of death takes us in the presence of Allah. What will you say to Allah about your life? Because that's what you're supposed to say, because you come from somewhere. What will you say to Him? That is the question. Because obviously Allah Jalla Majduhu is going to ask about life. So what will you say to Allah Jalla Majduhu that you've been doing? What if you think this is a difficult question? Then another one is easy version. What would you like to say? What would have you liked to say? That I was your servant, I did this for you, I lived like this, so the sunnah. What would you like to say? Okay, make it easy. Maybe the first one is difficult, that we don't have much good things to say. But what would you like to say? This you can do. What would you like to say? Everyone can think about that and write after all. Now, what would I like to say? I like to say, I was always with you. I was always prioritized. I was always loving. I was always in your obedience. What would you like? What would you love to say to Allah? How you lived. Not how you lived, but how you would have lived. That is your wish, how your relationship with Allah. Whatever answer is, make today's days, these days, bring them in line with that answer. Bring this day and this week in line with that answer. What would happen? यानी आज अगर बंदा मर जाए अल्लाह के दरबार में पेश है तो वो क्या अल्लाह पाक को क्या कहेगा कि मैं क्या करके आया हूं? ये मुश्किल है। तो फिर ये सोचें कि आप क्या कहना पसंद करेंगे, क्या कहना पसंद करेंगे कि मैं तेरा सही बंदा हूं। पसंद तो यही बंदा करता है, मैं तेरा मुखलिस बंदा हूं, तुम्हें या अल्लाह तुझी से मेरी मोहब्बत है, तुम्हें। तो जो आप पसंद करते हैं कहना, उसके मुताबिक आज के दिन और रातें बना लें इस दुनिया के। अलाइन विद दैट अल्टीमेट आंसर ऑफ योर्स, अपने ही जवाब के साथ अलाइन कर लें the things which you do. So that's what I mean by here saying, make a plan and aligns every day's activities in align with the end goal जो आप लेना चाहते हैं. Now this is very important. Number 9. This is half of the wisdom. It means prepares in advance for tasks and assignments. Whatever is to become or to be done, whatever is it, is a prayer, it is sleeping, it is working. Plan ahead, be prepared for it already. Make the necessary preparations. You will solve many, many problems by just actually becoming this person. Let's say even if you are going to work, if you have your suit ready, if you have your work equipment ready, your car is ready, you have sanitary ready, it has enough petrol things, etc. Your work uniform and other tools of the work are ready. You are more successful than a person who just out of nowhere, I need to go to, I can't find my socks, I can't find my this, I'm coming late now. He starts shouting at his wife. Then he goes into the car, I have to go to the petrol station. My wife, tire is a little bit out of order. Meaning, this is problem for no reason. So I'm just giving you an example. In every aspect, if you want more effective life, if you want to live more wise, more happier life, do one thing. Prepare for things in advance already. Pre-plan, premeditate. And what does pre-plan and premeditate? It means whatever you can do it beforehand. So that actually you... Imagine you are having a sahri. The other people are preparing sahri. So we finish the majlis, and if they go at that time, they want to serve you. Meaning if they are in the majlis, and they want to serve, how will they serve? There will be chaos, actually. But being prepared, the food is there, the cold, and alhamdulillah, you go there about 20 minutes, half an hour, and you still manage to do. Otherwise, actually, it can be a problem. So, learn this intellectually, but if you want an element of intellectual birth, is that person prepares in advance for his tasks and assignments and everything. Everything he prepares. He does whatever he can, and he leaves the rest to the, actually. Similar will happen at the time of death. If angel of death visits you and you say, now I want to repent, now please give me time. In the Quran it is that many people will say this because they have been lazy all their life. Now I want to be this, now I want to be this. No. Prepare in advance. As soon as he comes, you can say welcome. And say welcome to him. So this is a very important element of the intellectual birth, that in those matters, wherever you want to go, even on holidays, you want to marry, you want to work, you want to do business, this part always benefits you. Always benefits you. If you want to come towards Jummah, if you want to go towards a meeting, if you want to go on Umrah, if you want a worldly meeting, whatever you are doing, this quality of proactiveness, meaning being prepared in advance and do whatever you can do and leave the rest. And mentally you are in that mode, things are in that place, inshallah you can easily avoid unnecessary. And lastly, number 10, synergizes all actions toward the ultimate aim. Now what does that mean? That means synergizes, meaning that he brings everything together to gear towards that one ultimate goal. Like I was giving you example. For example, let's say you are eating, you are drinking, you are having all. So everything you do, once you know my goal is pleasure of Allah, getting in Jannah, getting into heaven. So you can do all activities you do in such a way that they are geared towards achieving that goal. And that is by those three elements that you do according to the command of Allah, the way shown by the Prophet al-Islam, and with ikhlas and sincerity. Synergizes all action toward the ultimate aim. And this is applied worldly and religiously. Remember, these last two are very, very important things. Let's say there's a big army. Synergizes, you don't look at this as different. This is energies, different powers. Like there is big army and they have energy. Someone is this. Now, if you can encourage them that we want victory, we want to have victory over the enemy, and you should support this, you should support us with guns, you should have tanks, you should come from there. So you are bringing all energies towards one goal, which is victory, then you will become successful. And if anyone is doing, you say to a leader, army commander, do this, and he say, no, I'm going towards, actually, I'm having a break now, or others say, then energies are not brought together, and then the goal is affected. Similarly, religiously, like you are doing, work dawah, like people say, if a dawah organization, you are 7 people, one has computer skills, one has actually knowledge, one has traveling, one has money. So the wisdom would be to bring them all together, and that purpose is conveying the message. Then you can convey the message in an effective way. Whilst on your own you can't do anything. That is the purpose of deen, like Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam brought all together. Hazrat Khalid bin Walid was a great warrior, so his courage was there. Sayyidina Ali radiallahu anhu was a great warrior, great wise man. Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq had lot of wealth. Hazrat Abdul Rahman bin Auf, Hazrat Usman had wealth. So you see, when things were brought together, wealth from the wealth, the planning from the wise, the bravery from the brave, and then went towards actually the purpose and the goal, and they achieved it. So you can apply this in business, you can apply this in religious dawah, for example, if people are working. So let's say, like we give you an example, if a person cannot do bayan, he doesn't have knowledge, he can do a lot of work of deen. Maybe he has IT skills. He can someone made this, Brother Ansar made this presentation for me, I can't do it. But it is synergizing, meaning bringing his energy and skill towards same purpose, because he is making for deen. He is making for deen, meaning actually to convey the message. I can present, I am presenting. Someone knows how to put this together in the computer, they've done this. Someone is controlling the voice. Someone is controlling the lights. Someone is controlling temperature. And everything comes together, and then we can easily achieve. Otherwise, so that's how the work of deen carries on. If you don't have knowledge, Allah might have given you more money. So you can give a brother, okay, brother, you don't have money, but you have time, so I will equip you. It's as though you sent your second half in dawah. It's actually you are roaming around in those countries and those places because you have financed. Although you are in your takeaway or in taxi, but really you are also there as well. So similarly, one person have knowledge, the other person have traveling, the other person have car, the other person have other facility, technical. So this number 10 meaning synergies, bringing all the energies together towards one ultimate aim then. And then the same thing you can apply on individual. You have eyes, you have a brain, you have a heart, you have hands, you have feet, you have time. You have all these things, and if you bring all of these things geared towards Allah's pleasure, you will easily achieve. Hands can do wudu, the head can bow down in front of Allah, the mind can think of Allah Jalla Majduhu, the heart can have love of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. You can, with the body, you can help the creation. You see, so I'm giving you, although each of them actually needs a separate lecture, separate discourse. They are so, these elements are so useful for your worldly life as well as otherworldly, not for deen and akhirah, but for dunya as well. They can be equally applied here and there. So this is called intellectual birth. The other one is the spiritual birth. We'll talk about that again, inshallah. So second birth, to summarize, again, first birth is when you were born physically. Second birth is the day you realize why you were born and include in that these elements. Then really you have a birth. Really you can say, I am a human being, because you have a direction. As I gave the example the other day, I'm just finishing now. On the road, there are people who are just idly roaming around, walking, standing here, talking loudly, nothing doing, nothing to do, smoking here, there, looking who is going, who. Some are just skidding with cars, going here and there. People don't like them. People standing on corners and laughing and, hooting and speaking loudly and all these. Some are in very good flashy cars. They're roaming around with music on, and although they are in good cars, they are standing here, there. People don't. But people who are traveling, for example, to Manchester, to London, wherever, they're going about their daily duties. Everyone respects them that they are going to some work or visiting family. But no one likes these hooligans who are standing here, there. यानी रोड पर दो किस्म के लोग होते हैं. एक आवारा गर्दगी करने वाले, इधर खड़े हुए, इधर गाड़ी इधर ले गए, इधर चले गए, उधर चले गए. दूसरे मुसाफिर. आवारा गर्दों की कोई इज्जत नहीं करता, कहते ये आवारा गर्दगी कर रहे हैं. मुसाफिरों की इज्जत करते हैं. अल्लाह पाक भी उनको अप्रिशिएट करते हैं, उनकी नमाज आदि कर देता है अगर लंबा सफ़र कर रहे हैं. और आवारा गर्दगी जो कर रहे हैं, इधर फिर रहे हैं, उधर फिर रहे हैं, उनकी कोई इज्जत नहीं करता. तो आवारा गर्द में और मुसाफिर में क्या फ़र्क है? What is the difference between, they're both on the road, they're both in the car. Difference between a roamer, or a person just idly roaming around and sitting around, standing around, driving around, and a person who is traveling towards another city or for some reason. What is the difference? Why people respect these people who are traveling and those who are just also traveling from this road to this road, but there's no purpose? उसमें फ़र्क एक ही है. The traveler has a destination and a purpose. Like I said, that they know where they're going and where they should go. The roaming around, the hooligans, the idlers, they don't have a purpose or they don't have any destination. That's why they are just as police don't like them, normal public don't like them, that they are going to cause trouble now and then somehow. Because they are purposeless, they will just be after other things which are harmful sometimes. तो वारागर्द को क्यों लोग पसंद नहीं करते, मुसाफिर को क्यों पसंद करते हैं? कि उनमें एक फ़र्क है कि मुसाफिर की मंजिल होती है और वारागर्द की मंजिल नहीं होती. वो वारगी कर रहा है. तो फ़र्क क्या है कि वारागर्द को ये नहीं पता कि मैं क्यों पैदा हूँ, मैंने कहीं जाना है, मैं मैनचेस्टर जाना है, लंदन जाना है, वो तो यहीं फिरेगा। और मुसाफिर को जानता है मैं लंदन जाना है, मैं जा रहा हूँ, he has a destination. Similarly, a person who knows his destination, I was created for Allah, for to go in Jannah, he has a destination. And the other person who doesn't realize that, he's living life, but he will live life as an idler, doing this and that, roaming around here and there. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala enable us to realize our value and the blessings which Allah Jalla Majduhu has given us. Now if you, as I said, have any question regarding what I said, not general question, this is not take too long, you can ask other time. Regarding the second birth, or what's been said regarding the first birth, so if you want, you can ask, otherwise then you have a break and carry on with the other session. Yes, Brother Hamza.
Okay. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. So my question was, this stage 2 intellectual birth, is it a process that is supposed to happen naturally, or is it a process that you have to go through?
Yes. It doesn't happen naturally. For that, a person needs guidance. The person needs that, let's say, a person who wants to go to London, and he starts from here, he doesn't know where it is, how to get. Will he naturally end up in London? No. He might end up in Birmingham or Scotland or wherever. For him to reach there, someone needs to tell him, this is the London city, this is car or a coach you should adopt, that's how you go, that's ticket you need, etc. Actually. So similarly, so that's what the Anbiya Ikram do. The prophets come and they give intellectual birth to people. People are living as an animals before the prophets. Like when Rasulullah ﷺ came in Makkah, there were people living. Maybe one will be a good person, but majority were doing zulm, no nikah, having 20, 30, 40 relationship with women, more abominable acts, drinking, drugs, doing zulm, oppression. They were living life actually there. So they were, naturally they can't actually go to that level actually in a complete, to some extent they do, but really Allah Jalla Majduhu then sent the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam or Anbiya previously, they gave them this guidance that why you have come on the face of the earth, how you should achieve that purpose, and this is the way. So for that one needs guidance definitely. Actually. Let's say, for example, now in this world now, in the technological advancement, people have knowledge, wisdom, technology, but all ends up at the time of death. What will going to happen after death? Who will help them in that manner? They don't have that access, for example. So they can be intellectually, worldly intellectuals, but regarding akhirah, one can be fool. Because they have to be taught, they have to be believed. So that's why you need guidance. At one time the prophets provided, now Rasulullah's guidance is until day of judgment, and ulama and awliya are there. Ulama normally tells you in theoretical terms what that guidance is, and awliya tell you in practical terms what that guidance is. And from awliya, those people who are murabbis, who are trainers, they train you to that level as well. You see, one alim is alim, meaning actually he knows, for example. Wali is friend of Allah. But then there's the third one who can make others friends of Allah, who is a trainer. So a person can be, let's say, a person who knows the theoretical guidance of driving. He knows the theory of driving. He can tell you that sign means this, that sign means this. But he can't actually, he doesn't know he's driving himself. But he can tell you this sign means no entry, this means one way. This is alim. Wali is that he is a driver himself. He is driving himself. But every driver can be instructor. Every driver cannot be. The instructor are third one category who knows how to drive and who have the necessary theory knowledge, and they can train other people who drive. Because many people they tend, okay, why you have to take lesson? I will give you a lesson. Many husbands give lessons to wives, and many wives give lessons to husband. Many fathers give to, and they return after the lesson. They are fighting most of the time. They fall out. Let aside learning driving, they have not learned to live, actually. So every time they give to save money, I'll give you a lesson. I've been driving 10 years, I'll give you a lesson. Instructors don't know actually any extra, I know. But yes, you know driving, but the art of training, the art of patience, the art of actually transferring is something else. You will go and you will end up fighting. Why you are doing? You'll become agitated. The driving will be there, so you will fall out for the rest of the day. So there are three elements. So as I said, there's ulama, there are awliya who practice, and then there are the murabbis, the murshids, who can train others also to that level. And that's who we want to be trained by, actually, the trainers.
अस्सलाम वालेकुम। मैं उर्दू में बात करना चाहूँगा। वो इस तरह से है कि आप अक्सर जब भी आप जुमा का खुतबा देते हैं और मुख्तलिफ़ औक़ात में आप दो आयात को कसरत के साथ कहते हैं कि जिसे अल्लाह गुमराह करे उसे कोई हदायत नहीं दे सकता, जिसे अल्लाह हदायत दे उसे कोई गुमराह नहीं कर सकता। और दूसरा आप वैलुल मुसल्लीन, तबाही है नमाजियों के लिए। इन दो आयात की रोशनी में जो आज का लेक्चर है मैं उस हवाले से जो है ना वो जानना चाहता हूँ कि इंसान की ज़ाती कोशिश और अल्लाह रब्बुल इज़्ज़त की रज़ा जो है इस हवाले से।
इसका जो पहली बात तो जो आपने पहले दूसरी बात ले लेते हैं फ़वैलुल लिल मुसल्लीन, कि अल्लाह पाक ने ख़ुद बयान कर दिया है कि ऐसे नमाजियों के लिए तबाही है। कौन से नमाजी? जिनका मैं यानी खुलासा कर रहा हूँ कि जिनका मखलूक के साथ ताल्लुक़ ज़ालिमाना है, वो मखलूक पर जुल्म करते हैं, गरीबों पर जुल्म करते हैं, यतीमों पर जुल्म करते हैं, लोगों के साथ अच्छे अखलाक से पेश नहीं आते, हमदर्दी नहीं करते। तो अल्लाह जल्ल मजदूहू फरमा रहा है कि ऐसे नमाजियों के लिए इनकी नमाज ही नहीं है। नमाज का तो मकसद ये था कि ये अल्लाह की इताअत और बंदों की खिदमत करते। ये जब ज़ालिम बन रहे हैं और जुल्म कर रहे हैं, तो वो जहाँ वो आयत है वहाँ उससे पहले अराअयतल्लज़ी युकज़्ज़िबु बिद्दीन फ़ज़ालिकल्लज़ी यदउल यतीम वला यहुद्दु, तो आप उसका पिछला हिस्सा और फिर आगे वाला पढ़ें तो आपको खुद ही समझ आ जाएगी कि वो किन लोगों की अल्लाह पाक बात कर रहा है। मैं आपको बता दिया किन लोगों की बात कर रहा है कि जो मसलन घर में बीवी पर जुल्म, खामिन पर ज़्यादती, पड़ोसियों से तल्लुकात ख़राब, कोई चीज़ पड़ोसी मांग ले देनी नहीं, जी उन्होंने नमक खुद क्यों नहीं वो ला सकते, वो हुवर मांग रहे हैं खुद क्यों नहीं वो ला सकते, वो लैडर मांग रहे हैं खुद क्यों नहीं वो लेते। मतलब इस तरह का रवैया गाली नहीं, लोगों को जो है मदद नहीं करनी बल्कि जुल्म, कोई यतीम कोई मांगने वाला है तो उसको झिड़क देना और पड़ोसियों से बुरे अखलाक से पेश आना वगैरह। तो ये बंदा जो अगर नमाज पढ़े तो अल्लाह पाक फरमा रहे इसकी नमाज ही नहीं है, ना इसको ये नफ़ा देगी, इसको भी ये दुरुस्त करना है। कोई नमाज तो इन चीज़ों से मना करती है, रोकती है, रोक देती नहीं है। मेरी नमाज में जैसे मैं आपको रोका कर रहा हूँ ऐसा ना करो ऐसा ना करो, तो मैं रोक सकता हूँ, मना कर रहा हूँ, लेकिन ज़बरदस्ती नहीं। इसी तरह नमाज भी रोकती है, रोक देती नहीं। कई लोग इसमें गलतफहमी है जी नमाज है बेहयाई से कामों से, वही वो रोकती है, वो कहती ना करो, तुम अल्लाह के सामने कहा बेहयाई काम ना करो, तुम्हें रिमाइंड कराती है अल्लाह को, लेकिन वो बाय फोर्स रोक देती नहीं है आपको। वो ऐसे ही है जैसे कोई बंदा कहे अमर इन्न सलात तन्हा अनिल फहशाई वल मुनकर, कि नमाज तन्हा मना करती है, रोकती है। इसी तरह तन्हौना अनिल मुनकर, हमें भी कहा जाए दावत तबलीग भी अमर बिल मारूफ व तन्हौना अनिल मुनकर, कि बुराई से मना करो। ये उलमा क्या करते हैं? बुराई से मना करते हैं। दावत देने वाला क्या करता है? बुराई से मना रोकता है। लेकिन क्या लोग अब उसकी वजह से रुक जाते हैं? नहीं, अब उनकी मर्जी है वो रोके या ना। इसी तरह नमाज भी जो आएगा, नमाज तो याद दिलाती है तुम अल्लाह के लिए आए हो दुनिया में, हाथ इस तरह इस्तेमाल करो, अल्लाह के सामने इसी तरह खड़े होना है जिस तरह आज तुम खड़े हो, तो तुम ना ये काम करना बेहयाई के। तो लेकिन अब उसके नमाज के अंदर ऐसी ताकत नहीं है कि भाई वो आपको ज़बरदस्ती पढ़ कर पीछे करे। वो है कि वो रिमाइंड कराती है, जैसे बंदे का ज़मीर होता है, वो रिमाइंड कराता रहता है बंदे को, मना करता रहता है भाई गलत काम है, ऐसा ना करना, ऐसा ना करना। लेकिन वो बंदा रुके ना रुके वो उसकी मर्जी। इस तरह नमाज भी रिमाइंड, कुरान भी रिमाइंड। नमाज से तो कुरान बड़ा है जो अल्लाह पाक ने हदायत के लिए भेजा है, लेकिन वो भी रोकता है, रोक देता नहीं। It stops you, it prohibits you, the prayer, from doing bad things, but it can't by force stop you doing bad things. It's only reminder. It serves as a reminder. ये भी कई लोग सवाल करते हैं, आपने तो 2 आयतों के किया, ये तीसरा भी जी सुना है नमाज बेहयाई से रोकती है, लेकिन ये जो लोग नमाज पढ़ रहे हैं बेहयाई के काम भी कर रहे हैं। वो ऐसे ही है कि जैसे कहना कि जी कुरान बेहयाई से रोकता है, लोग कुरान भी पढ़ रहे हैं, बेहयाई का काम। उलमाए दीन बेहयाई से रोकते हैं जी, लोग फिर भी कर रहे हैं। भाई वो इख्तियार तो बंदे के पास है, ना उलमा के पास है, ना कुरान में है, ना नमाज में वो पावर है कि वो आपको बाय फोर्स करे। इसलिए कहते हैं कि कुरान हदीस किताबों से समझ नहीं आती। ये पढ़ लें जितना बड़ी, ये सारे लोग ये पूछते रहते हैं, ये पढ़ी तफसीर, वो पढ़ी, फिर भी समझ कुछ नहीं फिर पढ़ ले इस आयत का। सारी ज़िंदगी इसी में ही रहते हैं, नमाज रोकती तो हमें क्यों नहीं रोक रही। अब ये नहीं पता रोकना तो मैंने था, अपने को भूला हुआ है, अपना आप गिनता नहीं बंदा। और वो जिस तरह कहते हैं ना 7 बंदे जो एक नहर पार की, उन्होंने कहा कि हम डूब ना जाएं, अपने आप को गिन लें। तो 7 जो है वो उन्होंने गिन लिया, हम 7 हैं, पार हो गए। गिना वो हर कोई गिनता था, दूसरों को अपने को नहीं गिनता। कहता एक बंदा गुम गया, एक बंदा डूब गया। उन्होंने रोना शुरू कर दिया, हाय हमारा अफसोस, हमारा साथी डूब गया। कोई मुसाफिर गुजर रहा था घोड़े वाला, तो उसने कहा क्या हो गया, कोई मसला हो गया? मसला को नहीं, हमारा बंदा डूब गया है। कितने थे? 7। तो उसको नज़र आ रहा था ये है ही 7। उसने कहा मैं बंदा वापस ला सकता हूँ, लेकिन आपको काम करना पड़ेगा। आप अपनी कमीज से उतार लो और मैं एक एक दुर्रा मारूंगा, जिसको मारूं उसने कहना 1, अगले ने कहना 2। उन्होंने कहा कि अगर बंदा मिल जाए तो हमें कोई इतराज़ नहीं। तो उन्होंने कमीज़ें उतार दी, उसने ज़ोर से कोड़ा जो घोड़े को मारते हैं मारा। उसने कहा 1, 2, 3, 7वें तक पहुंचा। बड़े खुश हो गए, कहने ये कहे कोई बात नहीं है, ये ज़ख्म ठीक हो जाएंगे। तो लेकिन ये तो पता चल गया कि हम 7 हैं। तो बाज़ दफ़ा लोग अपने को भूल जाते हैं। नमाज बुराई से रोकना तो आपने था, इसीलिए फिर फरिश्ते कोड़े आपको मारेंगे, वो बताएंगे कि किसने रोकना था। नमाज को तो सज़ा नहीं मिलनी, या कुरान तो किसने कुछ नहीं कहना, या दूसरों को अम्बिया को तो किसी ने कुछ नहीं कहना, वो तो अपनी ड्यूटी कर गए। कुरान अपनी कोड़े उसी को पड़ेंगे, जहन्नम के गुर्ज जिसका कसूर था, जो अपने आप को भूला रहा, भाई मैंने ही नहीं किया। खैर वो दूसरी जो आयत, वो जो आप इशारा कर रहे हैं, वो आयत नहीं पढ़ी जाती, वो खुतबे का एक हिस्सा है, यानी। लेकिन उसका मतलब आपको बता देता हूँ। उसका मतलब ये है कि जिसको भी हदायत मिली है वो अल्लाह ने हदायत उसको यानी अपना दिया, अल्लाह ही से मिलती है, यानी कोई और हदायत का ज़रिया ही नहीं है। यानी हदायत कहाँ से आएगी? नबी अलैहिस्सलाम, कुरान, वो किसने भेजा? अल्लाह ने। आप तो जिसने भी पढ़ के वो सुन लिया, किसी वली से सुन लिया, कोई भी, तो वो असल में वो मैसेज कहाँ से आया था? अल्लाह पाक। इसलिए कहते हैं अल्लाह ही ने हदायत दी, क्योंकि अल्लाह ही भेजने वाला वो चीज़। और जिसको अल्लाह पाक व मई युज़लिल्लाहु, युज़लिल का मतलब ये है कि जिसको अल्लाह पाक छोड़ दे, जिसको अल्लाह पाक जो है, यानी आप मसलन एक बंदे अल्लाह पाक ने मैसेज भेजा कि भाई इस बंदों को कि हदायत पा जो। कई बंदों ने कहा हम मान लेते हैं, कईयों ने कहा अपनी मर्ज़ी से कि हमने नहीं मानना, हमने नहीं चलना इस पर। तो बार बार जब बंदा इस तरह करता है तो फिर अल्लाह जल्ल मजदहू छोड़ देता है उस बंदे को अपने हाल पे। तो उसको कहते हैं मैं यूज़िल्लाह, कि अल्लाह जिसको गुमराह छोड़ दे उसको कोई हदायत। अब क्योंकि अल्लाह ने ही उसको छोड़ दिया, क्योंकि वो आना ही नहीं चाहता हदायत पर, तो इसलिए अब उसको कोई दूसरा नहीं, क्योंकि आना है उसने, तो फिर अल्लाह ही ने उस अल्लाह की ही बात सुनेगा तो वो आएगा। तो वो जो आप पूछ रहे हैं कि बंदे का पूरा 100% उसका पूरा इख्तियार कि वो हदायत कबूल करे या ना करे, इसलिए उसको ज़िम्मेदार ठहराया जाता है। तो यानी ये मतलब वो तो कुरान मजीद में अल्लाह पाक ने जो फरमाया, जिसको जो चाहता है उसको हदायत मिलेगी, जो चाहता है गुमराही उसको गुमराही में अल्लाह पाक छोड़ देता है, जो आना ही नहीं चाहता हदायत पर। तो उसका मतलब गोया ये बनता है कि भाई हम जैसे कहें भाई मैं आपको बता रहा हूँ कि अगर आप चाहेंगे आप ये खाना ले सकते हैं, अगर आप नहीं आपने लेना तो आप ना लें, लेकिन आपको मिलेगा कहीं और से नहीं, क्योंकि ये मेरे पास ही है, जब भी फिर लेना हुआ मेरे पास ही आना पड़ेगा। ये इस तरह की बात है। तो उसका मतलब जो दूसरा एलिमेंट आप पूछ रहे हैं भाई बंदे का 100% अल्लाह पाक ने बंदे को दिया हुआ है कि मानो ना मानो पूरा उसको, इसीलिए उसको सज़ा मिलती है। लेकिन अगर मानेगा तो हदायत कहाँ से आ रही है? अल्लाह की तरफ से। नहीं मानेगा तो वो कहीं और से आ नहीं सकती। तो इसलिए जो है वो बाज़ दफ़ा अल्लाह जल्ल मजदहू जो जानबूझ के रास्ते पर आना ही नहीं चाहता, तो उसको फिर छोड़ दिया जाता है उसी रास्ते पे सज़ा के तौर पर कि भाई ये आना ही नहीं चाहता। फिर बल्कि नबी अलैहिस्सलाम को भी आज तरावी के बाद थोड़ा सा बयान करूँगा, इसके बाद अल्लाह जल्ल मजदहू ने फरमाया इन लोगों को आप दावत तबलीग करें या ना करें, डराएं ना डराएं, इनको करें एक बराबर है, क्योंकि इन्होंने खुद फैसला कि हमने नहीं आना। तो जब खुद फैसला किया हुआ है तो फिर इनका फिर सज़ा के तौर पर ख़तम अल्लाहु अला क़ुलूबिहिम व अला समहिम, कि इनके दिलों पर मोहर, आँखों पे पर्दे, ये सारी चीज़ें। तो वो किसने की है? वो ख़ुद बंदे उसने जो है, फिर एज अ रिज़ल्ट अल्लाह पाक उसको फिर छोड़ देता है। लेकिन अगर वो आना चाहता है तो फिर उसको अल्लाह की तरफ रजू करे, तौबा करे, तो वो आ सकता है, यानी अपना अल्लाह के फ़ज़ल से। ठीक है, जज़ाकल्लाह, माशाअल्लाह। So now, inshallah, yesterday you filled in the forms, as I said, for people who are in Itekaf, they should know what they want in Itekaf. इस Itekaf में ठीक है आपको ये तो teachings मिल रही हैं general, there we are teaching you, you are attending the halaqas, सारी चीज़ें कर रहे हैं, लेकिन भाई आपका असल मसला क्या है? अल्लाह के और आपके दरमियान क्या चीज़ रुकावट है? व्हाट इज़ द एक्चुअल बैरियर, और व्हाट इज़ इट यू वांट टू अचीव? यू वांट टू अचीव बिकम रेगुलर प्रेयर, आप नमाजी बनना चाहते हैं, आप खशू हासिल करना चाहते हैं, आप कोई बुराई छोड़ना चाहते हैं। वी आस्क्ड supposed to ask everyone what they want, so that at the end of itikaf you are gone away with what really your problem was. Otherwise, someone has flu, someone has headache, someone has heartache, someone has stomach ache. So we want, when you go here, that ache is gone. If we keep treating your head and your pain is in stomach, then that's not beneficial. So many of you mentioned on these forms, and especially some are new brothers, some are actually other, so they are different. So most people, for example, they were given option, is this steadfastness in prayer, overcoming a particular bad habit, or they want to attain closeness to Allah, they want to attain higher level of spirituality, starting your journey to the pleasure of Allah, or anything else. So now, for example, this person have said, and I'm not naming, need to know what life is really about. Need some advice on how to make my prayer perfect. And definitely on how to be patient. So he asked 3 things that I want to know what life is really about. That's what we are learning now in these lectures, for example. How to make my prayer perfect. So this person wants to pray. And thirdly, he wants a patient. And what is stopping him? He says, my surroundings and people are making me do wrong. So he's saying that he's affected by people. But remember, really, it is the person who really decides, not the people. But yes, they can affect you. So for example, this person have said, I want more steadfastness in prayer. And I want to start my journey to pleasure of Allah. And he wants to understand why I am in this world. You see, these is what you want. And if I keep you teaching, I'll give you a lesson on Arabic, language and sarf and nahav, and I'll give you high-level lesson on tajweed, and then I'll tell you how the ulama differ and how many sects there are. No, this person doesn't need to know that. This is the voice of common person today, common youth. He's not interested in differences. The ulama, one is giving fatwa over the other one is saying the other one is astray, the other one is saying the other one is astray. And who is going to go in paradise then? If you take all the opinion of these sects, no one remains a Muslim. Imagine if they're all true. For them, one sect says the other one is in hell. The other say the other one is in hell. The third say the other one is in hell. The fourth say other. If you really listen to all of them, no one is going in Jannah. And that's not right. Someone is going in Jannah. This means that there are people. So you don't need to go into that, their delicacy. They are fighting over things for 1,300 years, and they will continue doing like this. So but you want to be this person, like this person have said, I want to understand why I am in this world, and to how to get close to Allah. And he was to want to meet one-to-one, that is fine. And he thinks one thing which I want to achieve is find a route that will help me to understand. Find a path to understand. So, for example, other person have written, he wanted to closeness of Allah. And he wants to stop watching different programs on television, whatever. This person have said, I want more steadfastness in prayers and want to start journey to pleasure. This person wants to get rid of negative thoughts and also wants more khushu in salah. So if you're in opinion, what is stopping you from achieving? He said, don't know. So this person meaning saying that he doesn't know. He needs to be informed nicely with love that what is the obstacle. So you see, this is the need of people. This is really today's young person, today's human being speaking. That's what they want. And we are getting into, okay, don't do this. This is, okay, we have our own Aqidah. We know we are Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah, alhamdulillah. That's it, finish Aqidah, we are fine. Now, stick to the basic Aqidah and get on with these things. Others, if they're astray, exchange with them, invite them nicely. Don't look down upon other people, for example. One person said he was going in Islamic program recently, not long. A big conference was happening somewhere. He saw a girl, no hijab, not anything on the head, no scarf, in her skirt, and going to that Islamic conference. So he felt so raged. He felt like going and saying that if you're coming to Islamic conference, that please at least actually observe some courtesy. So but for some reason, he kept it in him. It's okay, it will create chaos and things. But he just wanted to go and shout at her and to admonish her. Well, anyhow, he went to a big conference. Thousands of people participated. After they had the conference, the announcement was made that alhamdulillah, there are, because of listening, and there are 4 people who want to accept Shahada and now. And he saw that same girl actually going and accepting Shahada. So he felt so embarrassed and so regretful that his whole perspective changed, that while I was thinking of someone, she's not even a Muslim, and I was to give her, if I was to go to her and be harsh to her, you wear this, I didn't know she's Muslim or not even, this would have turned her away from the conference and Islam totally. So he thanked Allah that he didn't go and shout and say things that. This example someone gave, I'm giving, is to show you actually that don't judge people. You don't know their story. You don't know what they're going through. You don't know what their background is. You don't know. So don't judge. They need love and acceptance, how they are. You accept them how they are and then turn into what you want them to be. You do that job. They are whatever they are. So people were kuffar and sinners, and Rasulullah ﷺ took them, accepted them as they are, and turned them into Sahaba and great awliya and salihin things. So the awliya Allah accept people as they are, with their old baggage, with their old sin, with their old wrongdoings, and with love. And on top of that, they give them love, and then change them how they want them to be. They don't actually accuse them. So this is a person who don't. This person wants closeness to Quran and also overcome particular bad habit. I want to ponder over Quran in Salah and when laziness, especially. So this person wants to steadfast in Salah. This person want developing devotion in prayer. And he said, I will follow the guidance given and try to come, etc., etc. So I'm just saying that everyone's form who I was given is there. So inshallah, today, after these session, the last session which you will have, firstly, your names will be called there. It's in two groups. One is the ones, people who are already on the course of Tazkiyah and they know. And ones, for example, here someone has said they want more advanced spiritually. They want to know more about how to do spiritual miraj and muraqabah and other things, etc., etc. And then there are these people who have these type of questions of prayers and things. They want this. So firstly, you will be called in two groups or three and given a general overview over these 2-3 days. And then you will be also seeing the teachers and myself one-to-one to actually draw out an individual plan for you. So this next step after this is firstly to be in two groups. One group will give an overview what they want steadfastness, because there are many people who want steadfastness in prayer, overcoming a bad habit and things, same things. But this will be. But then there is specific things which you can only speak to one with the teachers to draw your individual plan to come over this, and then also hopefully seeing me. So all these people are in one group. They should stay after the other session. Ghulam Murtaza, Shah Muhammad, Talash Ro, okay, Bilawal Hussain and Rizwan, Rizwan Rahman, Muhammad Ashraf, Shuaib Khan, Irfan from Birmingham, Hamza Khan, Shabir Haider Khan, Sardar Ali, and this Muhammad Abdul Mannan, the Saud Coventry from Coventry, Majid Iqbal from Nelson, and Muhammad Iqbal from Birmingham, Haider Ali from Maccles, Fazal Mahmood, MashaAllah, Sabir Rahman, Abdul Khadim, Abdul and Khadim from Oldham, Muhammad Zubair Khan, Hamza Shah. So these people, meaning these are the people who, new people or who doesn't know much, came first time or second time. They are in one group, and the others, they are in the other group who have given. And inshallah, by tomorrow, you should all be on the route to discover, to attain whatever you really want out of itikaf, whilst other sessions will continue and they will benefit you as well. Jazakallah. Subhanakallahumma bihamdika nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk.